Hi, my name is Linda Orris. I am the chair of the Communications Committee at Montview Church, and I'm here today to have a little conversation with Sandy Prouty, the Minister of Children and Families here at Montview. The first question is fairly basic. What have you been doing to engage family and children during this time?
Well, we always have had the understanding that parents are the main Christian educators of their children. They're the ones that get to answer those spontaneous questions in the minivan about what does God look like and those sorts of things. So it's always been a matter of resourcing parents, but now we're doing that in new and different ways. What we've tried to do is offer a wide variety of activities through the new means of communicating that they could choose to do with their children. One of the criteria is that we hope they're easily understood, easily put in place, and they're short. One of the main things we've done is Word to the Children, which is more of a little Sunday school lesson. And I love that it coordinates as best we can with what Pastor Clover and Ian are talking about that day. So we use the same scripture and just try to provide some vocabulary. It's always thinking of what you're teaching, getting back to Bible study skills in terms of having the children know, first of all, it really does come from the Bible. When I first took this job, a little boy said, "Hey, where are you coming up with all this stuff?" Because, it just hadn't dawned on him that it came from our sacred text. So I try to add Bible study skills and talk about this very complicated book for children. And then go into the story and try to also add something that would call the story to their daily lives. Like, what does this mean? What can we do? Another resource that I think is important is I send out the children's bulletins that the families were used to having in the sanctuary. So children can maybe be occupied with that while they're, tuning into the Montview at home. I also have, over the months, sent out book suggestions because, having education as a background, I really believe in children's literature. And there's so many themes, both in the secular press and in the religious press, that families could use at story time.
That is so interesting just to hear about all the thought process that goes into it, because when you just see it at face value, you might not realize all the levels that are at play in all the things that you're putting out there. And so it's been several months of this sort of new way of engaging. What have you learned about being a minister of children and families in this time?
Well, I've learned a lot about technology. That it was a steep mountain to climb when this all started. I've learned that there's no substitute for seeing people in person in terms of what we were so used to as a community of faith, but that there are possibilities, never as good as getting to hug them and say hi, but ways to be present to each other. And I've been very surprised about the Zoom methodology. I have had the sense of such intimacy and closeness with groups of people over Zoom. And I've tried to figure that out. I think it's just the direct on straight attention. So that's been a big surprise. I've had some Zoom calls with children, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and they are hilarious and very, very much a connection. So I guess I've learned to make an adjustment to something that is not a substitute, but a new way of being together. And you're never quite sure, but I think that's the mystery that God always holds, and that somehow there's wonder involved in all of that. And we just try our best and, step forward into love.
That bit about the wonder of it all and the mystery gave me goosebumps. I hadn't thought about it that way. It's what I've been feeling, but you put great language to it. So now I don't want to imply in any way, shape, or form like all of that hasn't been enough. But I'm just curious.
Yes.
What is next? What's next?
I am very excited about adding faces to our program. I have 12 Sunday school volunteers that are going to be on screen with children coming in the fall. We have a new curriculum. Cokesbury Publishing has come out with a virtual Sunday school. So we're going to have more resources and just a new way of approaching these Sunday school lessons. Very excited about building more connections, kind of, reinventing and reestablishing the web that we have around Sunday school. I just heard a quote, I believe it's by Tolstoy, and it goes, "You've just learned something which in the beginning feels like loss." So I'm thinking we're just going to learn things together, and we'll have the loss, but we'll be in community, and things will come up and we'll solve them as we go. And I feel I'm anxious to share the agency of teaching in this way with the Sunday school volunteers.
Over the last few months, I at least in the past, I don't recall having so much access to the children's programming. I mean, I always saw the word to the children, during the service, but now it's a secret between you and me. I always watch the word to the children because it makes everything make sense. And it's a magical little time for me.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's been really fun, but really, really challenging.
Well, Sandy, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about what's going on with children and families at Montview right now. Very informative and really inspiring. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Linda. Great to see you, and we'll see you soon.